Guys, and welcome back to Mika Reacts and Reviews, where we react and review to things on the internet. And I know I was gone for a few days or a couple of days. I was in the mountains near the Himalayas. It was beautiful. It was amazing. Highly recommended. You gotta balance work with play, you know what I mean? But now I'm back and I am here to react to Tom MacDonald, and we're gonna be reacting to his new song that he did called Snowflakes. It was released just one day ago and it has almost 3 million views and 328,000 likes. So obviously a lot of people like this video, and we're gonna get right into it. But first, if you like these type of videos, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell to get the notifications when I do upload. All of that helps with the algorithm, guys. And if you would like to support this channel, you can donate. My PayPal me link in the description box below, and also in the comment section. You don't have to. You can just like, comment, and subscribe. All of that really does help with the algorithm. And I also want to give a big thank you and a shout out to Carl Draycott. Hopefully I pronounced your name correctly. Thank you so much for your large donation. I received it. I am so immensely grateful, and it helped me continue to bring more entertainment to you guys. So thank you so much, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your life.
If you lie to the government, they'll put you in prison. But when they lie to all of us, it's called being a politician. You think taking guns away will save our kids from the killings, but you're pro-choice, abortion kills way more children. If America's so terrible and racist, it probably isn't safe to encourage immigration. Just saying, all the contradictions are embarrassing. You know who hates America the most? Americans. Trigger warnings used to be on TV for seizures, and now they're everywhere to protect millennials' feelings. He, she, his, him, hers, them, they. Screw a pronoun, cause everyone's a retard these days. I hear him preaching at the protest that hatred's the problem, but hating straight men, white folks, and Christians is common. Coca-Cola telling people they should be less white. They preach intolerance, but if you disagree, they fight. There's a race war here, elections based on fear. Black lives only matter once every 4 years. Soldiers died for this country, and every one of us benefits. Give welfare to the bums and forget about the veterans. Black folks and white folks divided by the news, but we are all the same. We are red, white, and blue. Ashamed to be American? Okay, that's cool. Cause honestly, we are all ashamed of you too.
All right. Before we get into the hook, we're gonna give a shout out to our Blair White, looking gorgeous as hell. If you do not know who Blair White is, she is a conservative trans woman with her fine ass, and she talks a lot about the idiocracies that happen mostly within trans and LGBTQ activists, not the actual people in the groups, because most people in the LGBTQ plus are just regular ass people who trying to live their lives. Just like their third wave feminists, it's just a minority, loud, vocal, persistent few. It's the same thing when it comes to trans activists who try to make it seem like there's no biological differences between trans women and biological women. Those are usually the loud minority and not the actual groups. But she talks about that a lot on her channel. And if you don't know about her, you should go watch her, support her, subscribe, because she's awesome. Tom MacDonald said a lot in his first verse. I'm gonna try to break it down. He said, the people who hate America are usually Americans, and I feel like that is very true. It's like the people who benefit the most from being born and raised in America, living in America, the people who benefit and who are privileged the most, born and raised in America, are usually the ones who hate America the most. And I think that just comes out of a lot of indoctrination, but a lot of ignorance, not realizing how much better they have it, you know. And I'm not trying to say that that means no other country is amazing. I travel for full time, so obviously multiple countries on this planet are amazing. But people don't realize, even when it comes to women's rights, when it comes to civil rights laws, when it comes to just freedom of speech, like the things that most Americans take for granted the most, they don't think about it because they honestly don't realize that there's a lot of countries that don't have that. You know, like I was speaking to someone else here, and they were saying like, because I said something like, I think Americans are some of the most entitled and grateful, spoiled people on the planet, and they were like, but why? And I said, it's because when they go home and they turn on the lights, or they turn on their water, or they lock their door, to them it's like, I should have this. I deserve this. I'm entitled to fresh water. I'm entitled to electricity. I'm entitled to a place to sleep. I'm entitled to health care. I'm entitled to safety. Instead of being like, thank God I have electricity. Thank God I have clean water. Thank God I have a safe place to sleep. Thank God there's some protection for me. They see it as an entitlement that I deserve these things without any trying whatsoever, just the fact that I'm a human being. And I'm not saying that's not right, but they're not grateful. There's no gratitude there, right? And so yeah, it's true. And the whole immigration thing, I always thought that was kind of funny how like a lot of people who are very far left, very progressive, believe in open borders and we should have more immigrants in. But it's like, if you think we're the most racist, sexist, misogynist country on the planet, why would you want to invite more people here? Wouldn't you want to save them from the trauma and the oppression and the torture? What do you want to save them for the most evil country on the planet? Like, no, like people literally like risk their lives and risk their children's lives to get to America. So that should say something. He talked a lot about abortions, which I've hit on before. I'm not going to go into that. Politicians lie a lot. We all know that. The fact that Black Lives Matter only matter every 4 years. Very obvious, because they use activist groups like Black Lives Matter only when it's political campaigns. There was the year for politicians to get elected or re-elected. So that's very true. All right, I'm enough talking. I'm going to get right back into it.
So fake. Oh no, the forecast said that there'd be snowflakes. Whoa, you can make us see it your way. No way, gasoline and propane, more flames. Oh no, no more snowflakes. They set us up to fail, that's what they built the system for. Put an ammunition shop across the street from a liquor store. Empowering women used to be different than this before. The role models got OnlyFans or dance on a stripper pole. Screw it, I ain't tripping, I don't mean to be mean, but if our children are the future, then our future is bleak. They take an Adderall to focus, hit McDonald's to eat. They're addicted to phones and they take Xanax to sleep. They blurred the lines dividing communism and democracy. In 2021, we paint the patriots as Nazis. The men playing women's sports get trophies for winning. Like, great, let's celebrate a man for beating some women. If you're black, your life matters, you're supposed to embrace it. If you're rich or you're smart, then you're probably Asian. If you're gay, then you're brave, all of that I'm okay with. But if you're white, the stereotype is you are a racist. Blaming capitalism like that's the reason things are tough. While you tweet from an iPhone and sip on a Starbucks, you're supporting what you stand against, you don't think you are. But a Percocet addict don't donate money to pharma. Damn dog, we're all afraid to speak the truth. And the more afraid we get, the more we hate the ones who do. You're ashamed to be American? Okay, that's cool. Cause honestly, we are all ashamed of you too.
Alright, before we move on, first let me do this. Okay, so he said a lot. First of all, let's talk about the hook. The hook isn't my favorite, but it's fine. We're not gonna dissect the hook too much. When he talked about, we all know biological men who now identify as female, trans women playing in women-only sports. A lot of people have talked about this, but anybody who talks about this get called a TERF. That trans activists, I wouldn't even say trans people in the community, because again, most people are just regular ass people living their life. Trans activists are basically trying to use the trans platform to almost erase women, to erase the experience and identity of biological women by saying there is no difference, that a trans lived experience is the exact same as a biological lived experience, which is not true unless you transition as a kid, which is a whole different topic, right? I will never ever claim to understand what it feels like to be trans. I would never ever try to claim I understand the trans experience or what it feels like to have gender dysphoria. So I think most women are just like, respect me and I will respect you, right? So the sports thing, there have been so many young girls who have had university opportunities taken away from them, scholarships opportunities taken away from them that they fought and trained for years for, because two people or some people decided that they were now women shortly before they decided to go into the women's sports. Not years and years later, shortly, like a couple weeks before they go into women's sports. Not enough estrogen can be pumped in someone's body to completely change muscle and bone density and all the development you had through puberty in a couple of weeks before you go and play in women's sports. There was a trans, I forgot, MMA fighter or some sort of fighting athlete sports who biologically male fought against a biological woman and I think broke her skull. So we are upset when biological men who identify as men beat biological women we upset about that. We want to go to jail. We want them to be punished. But when a biological man who identify as trans women cracks and breaks a biological woman's skull, they celebrate it and they support it. So I'm not saying there's no sports that a biological male and a biological female can play together and it will be equal, but most sports is not possible because there are just biological fucking differences between men and women. Again, when it comes to muscle mass and bone density and the puberty that you went through as a young man. I'm sad that there's trans people out there that really want to play sports, but they also want to transition, and I feel like it's not fair. I get that. But you can't then trample over, you can't ask for respect and empathy and then trample over everybody else's respect and empathy. It doesn't work that way, because then people are going to resent you for that. So I don't know how they're going to fix it, but it needs to be fixed. He talked about our role models. He's hit on this before with the Cardi B thing. And it is true. Like, you don't see many young girls saying, I want to be a doctor, lawyer, judge, entrepreneur, anything like that. And if they talk about entrepreneurship, they talk about OnlyFans. And it's sad if that's the aspirations for our next generation. He mentioned the Adderall thing, and it's really sad because I think a lot of young boys are the ones who get overprescribed Adderall just because they have a lot of attention and maybe it's hard to focus in school. So the answer is drug them up. Why not? Instead of just realizing they're kids, especially young boys, they're rambunctious, they have a lot of energy, they want to climb on everything. And plus you can also just step back as an educator and go, maybe the way I'm teaching these children isn't efficient. Like, because they don't want to just sit there and hear you talk for hours. Like, most kids don't. Most kids have short attention spans. Instead of changing the system and changing the way you're teaching children, instead of doing that, they just drug you up instead. And then you have these people, like, that are on drugs their entire childhood and don't know how to, like, function on who they really are as they hit adolescence and adulthood. So that's an issue that we need to stop. He also hit on all these social safety nets that we have for people of low economics or the homeless, but we kind of fuck over veterans. I don't think we should just throw the homeless and people that with low economics or living in poverty away, but you should also deal with our veterans. I watched a video not too long ago, and it was like one of those like Jubilee type of videos, but wasn't a Jubilee video. You had to rate people's intelligence. It was a really good video. I should review to it. But there was one guy that was either in service, like he was in the army, or he was a Marine. So he's either in service or he's out of service now. And every last person, I think it was 5 or 6 people, marked him as the lowest intelligence just because he didn't go straight to college and he decided to go to the Marines instead. I think the lack of help that we have for veterans today and that mindset that those people had on that show just proves that we have absolutely no respect for our military, just like we have no respect for our law enforcement, because we just think it's just the stereotype of like, oh, they're just these angry, aggressive boys who go out and like shoot guns and stuff like that, not realizing that you have to pass an intellectual test to get into at least the military. But a lot of people who go into Marines or Air Force or the Army, I think the military is just like all encompassing, right? A lot of them go into biology, robotics, engineering, medicine. They're not just all in the front lines shooting guns. And so the fact that like people are just completely like blasé about the military just shows where our values are as Americans. And I've mentioned in another video that my father, he was much older, who I believe fought in the Vietnam War, he got really, really good service. But my brother, who fought in the Afghan and Iran war, like, he really had to beg just for mental health care. Like, that's an issue. Okay, so we hit on the whole, like, capitalism or communism is kind of blurring the lines with socialism or something like that. It is funny, people who are either communist or socialist tweet and yell about capitalism on their iPhone that was birthed out of capitalism, completely live in a capitalistic society, reality, participate freely and voluntarily in it, but then bitch about it over and over and over again. It's the same thing we talked about Americans who privilege and benefit from being American, bitch about being American in America. So it's like, put your money where your mouth is and go live on a farm somewhere with hippies and stop like bitching about capitalism on your cell phone. And it's usually people who are just straight out of university who's like everything is capitalism. Like racism misogyny, like men's problems, low birth rate, like everything is like linked to capitalism and it's so fucking evil. And it's like, no, there's a difference between crony capitalism and regular ass capitalism. Get it straight. All right, let's continue.
Y'all are so fake, oh no. The forecast said that there'd be snowflakes. Whoa, you can make us see it your way. No way, gasoline and propane. More flames, oh no. No more snowflakes. We can all get along, but there's no stopping. Everybody's wrong, that's a real problem. They don't wanna hear it, but they still talking. Soon enough, we running out of options. This ain't gonna end till it's in the coffin. We ain't gonna be friends till we try to squash it. I don't know how we can make amends or we drop it. Snowflakes melt when it's hot, kid. Y'all are so fake, oh no. The forecast said that there'd be snowflakes. Whoa, you can make us see it your way. No way, gasoline and propane. More flames, oh no. No more snowflakes.
Over Rockefeller. Is it running? Alright. That was Tom MacDonald Snowflakes. When you finish this, give this a like, a comment, and a share, and a subscribe. But then go over to Tom MacDonald's channel and give his video a full watch and a like and a comment and a subscribe. And even if you've done it already, go back and give him another view because he deserves it. Alright, that was really good. I really liked his little accents he was throwing in there at the end, like I really like that. And again, Tom MacDonald has done similar songs to this. This is different, and he's saying different things in this video, but he's done similar songs to that. Let's acknowledge it, because, you know, his haters do. But he was saying different things. But at the end of most of his controversial songs, so even the ones that's not that controversial, like White House or This House, like at the end of the day, he's always saying, we have to just come together and stop this madness, stop trying to find every other way to divide yourself from another person, or to divide groups, or label people in groups and stuff like that. Like, we all need to come together if we want to fix this society and stop falling for the propaganda when it comes to the government and the media. That has always kind of been his bottom line. So it is really weird when people try to make it seem like he's a racist or a misogynist or a transphobe, because at the end of the day, he's always been talking about, like, let's just come together, let's have these hard conversations so we can figure it out and come together, right? Some of the stuff that he said, it's been said, like the whole, like, socialists and communists tweeting angrily from their iPhones, that has been said. You know, even people who hate America is Americans, that has been said. And this could have been said multiple times because it's just very obvious, right, to most people with a brain, so you're going to hear people repeat it. So I also just want to acknowledge that as well, because that's a lot of things that people bring up about Tom MacDonald. But for me, it's not like, oh, well, Tom MacDonald's just copying or just mimicking or just repeating things that's on the internet. I see it as Tom MacDonald is educating himself, that he's paying attention. He's probably listening to people that know more than him, that's in that world, that can speak on it or know more than all of us, and he's educating himself, and he's taking that knowledge that he has and he's integrating it into his music. Because I listen to people like Dr. Jordan Peterson and Ben Shapiro and Steven Chowder and Blair White and Candace Owens and many more. That's not even within the conservative bubble, but people who are just into the intellectual bubble, who are just paying attention to what's going on and speaking on it. So that's why I like, when I listen to some of Tom MacDonald's music, I'm like, I've heard this before. It's probably because we're listening to the same people, and just really trying to educate and figure out what's going on and learning the language and the verbiage and the vernacular that you can use to have these conversations with other people. Anyway, I really enjoyed it. Again, shout out to Blair White for her cameo. Amazing. Like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell to get the notifications when I do upload. All of that really does help with the algorithm, guys. Let me know what you think of this song, what Tom MacDonald said, what I said. Let me know your opinions. And if you also like to support this channel, you can donate. My PayPal me link in the description box below and also in the comment section. It helps, but you don't have to. You can just like, comment, and subscribe. I also have a second travel vlog channel. If I travel full time, so if you want to know know where I am in the world, you can go to the description box below and also in the comment section. Hit the link, go subscribe to my travel vlog channel, and or follow me on Instagram. My stories is usually what's most up to date. You guys have an amazing day. Bye!